we are recording on two different softwares now. So hopefully this stream stabilizes, but if it don't, there's a YouTube channel. You can watch this if you really want to. Otherwise, it'll be on SoundCloud and other podcast avenues to listen to. So do apologize. It's a me and Twitch issue right now. So, and I can't quickly fix those types of things, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it looks like sometimes it's stable for a few minutes, so hopefully you get the important pieces, which is us rambling, and then the other stuff. So, but yeah. So let's get started. On this episode of This Is Game Boy, we crack the whip. Legs put a whip cracking sound at the end of that too. That'd be good. There you go. There's the music for that. All right. We're going kind of quick too because I'm dropping frames. So yeah. Welcome everyone to episode 51 of This Is Game Boy. I am eBloodyCandy, and with me, almost as always, is Moelle.
Yeah. Hi, if you can see me.
Yeah. On YouTube,
Otherwise,
you can see it. Maybe not on Twitch right now. So
yeah. Whatever.
It is what it is. We'll push through. Shit happens. I bet you Legs won't bleep that one out because it's me. So, yeah. Before we dive into today or this month's big episode, I guess. Let's talk about what we've been up to. Mo, it is Spooptober right now, so I know you are a busy boy.
Hell yeah. Love me some Spooptober. Like always, this is my month to do nothing but watch horror movies of varying quality, I guess. And play some spoopy games. Let's I'll dive into the games that weren't spoopy first, though. Let's do that. I've only managed to finish one Game Boy game last month, which was Battle Ping Pong, which is fine, I guess. The end took way too long because I'm still not sure how the mechanics work correctly to play it properly. So the last two battles in Battle Ping Pong took me way too long. Luckily, the final one I did it first try, but like the penultimate one took me like 2 hours or 2 hours and a half to get through. That's way too long for a ping pong match. But yeah, so that's the only Game Boy game I played. I did start playing the Cowabunga collection, which I got a physical copy for PS4, but sadly my controller broke. Well, the R2 button is broken, which technically you don't need for the Cowabunga collection because it's all NES and Super Nintendo and things like that. I don't even know what R2 does in the collection, maybe rewind or something like that. But I wanted to fix the controller, so I didn't play any more PlayStation. I failed at fixing it because apparently it's the contact. So I gave it to a friend. He's gonna look at it. He's a little bit better with like electronics and stuff like that. But unless I can find a new contact plate, and I don't really know how to work around that. But yeah, unless I replace that, it's basically a garbage controller now because R2 is probably one of the most used buttons on the PlayStation controller. But I ordered a new one. So yeah, I haven't finished the Cowabunga collection yet. I finished 3 games. Take a wild guess which ones. It's the Game Boy Turtles games, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know those, so that was easy to do. So I've also been completing games on Steam as I can play PlayStation. I was like, I'll just play some stuff on Steam then. There was a game I had for like years called DLC Quest.
Such a good game.
It's a very fun game. Yeah, if you haven't checked it out yet, do so. It's super cheap as well. But it's a game I had finished before, but they added two uh, quote unquote speedrun trophies to it, and it had been like years since I played it. So, excuse me, I just played it again and got those achievements out of the way. So, or maybe it just didn't have any achievements. I
It
don't
had
remember.
it had achievements, but they were in the game. They weren't
Oh,
Steam
in the game,
achievements.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they made it in Steam achievement. So I replayed it because I had a lot of fun with that game first time around. So yeah, I completed that game. I've also been playing, and that's yeah. Flannel Cat is not here anymore right now, but she has been streaming a lot of pinball games. So I got Pinball FX3 on Steam. The base game is for free, but you only have like 3 tables. I believe. But sometimes when I see a sale on tables that interest me, I buy them. Like I got the World pinball tables and some Marvel pinball tables and things like that. So sometimes I just play a little pinball. It's a fun way to spend some time. Like I guess a lot of people have that game on Steam, anyways. I see that we're completely offline on RGL. I don't know, but we'll keep going anyways. Maybe we'll get back.
We're off. We're off and on.
Yeah, we're all okay.
We're off and on.
So yeah. So as I said, like it's Spooptober, so I've been streaming a lot of spoopy games. And this year, I was like, you know what? I do have a lot of stuff on Steam, so I'm just gonna play those instead of whatever console spoopy game I have. So on stream, actually, I played a few games that you can get for free, always. So if you're interested in playing them yourself, go grab them. But I played Dagon, which is basically a visual representation of the short story by what's his face, um, the Cthulhu guy. His name slips my mind right now.
Lovecraft.
Lovecraft. Yeah, there you go. So it's one of his earlier stories that actually uh, went on into the Cthulhu thing, and you learn a lot about Lovecraft himself throughout the game. But it's just a visual representation of the game. You can look around, but that's pretty much all you can do. You can click on a few things for some more text and stuff like that. So, but yeah, again, it's a free game. It's really cool if you don't know the story. So I would definitely suggest playing it yourself. It takes like half an hour or something. I've also played The Supper, which is a really cool pixel point and click game. It's super short as well because it's free. It's like 15 minutes. It's really cool. I'm not gonna spoil anything about that. Just look at the screenshots. Like the art is amazing for that game. And I have taken a look at some other games the person made, which are also like point and click adventure games, but those are not for free. And with the Steam sale coming up for Halloween, which will probably be happening when this episode comes out, yeah, I might pick a few of those up because they look really interesting. The final free game is called Perfect Vermin. That's a game. Like, again, I'm not gonna spoil anything because why would you play it otherwise? Just check it out yourself. It's first person. You have no clue what's going on. It's very weird. It it makes sense kinda at the end what it's about. Like I figured it out like a minute before the reveal what was going on. But it's super weird. Yeah. Again, this is a 10-minute game. There are achievements that can take you a lot longer to do because there's some really hard ones, in my opinion. But uh, yeah. Check out Perfect Vermin. Again, another free game. I've also played Lilith's Well. I didn't do that on stream though. I played that myself. I think that's for free as well, actually. Lily's Well. It's an adventure game in like old Atari, Commodore style, whatever. Very old console style. Uh, absolutely must play. Absolutely.
I
It's
have
about a
it, but
little
yeah, I
girl.
haven't played it yet.
Yeah, you absolutely have to play it. It's about a girl who her father goes away at night and she's all alone in the house, and there's a well in her backyard, and she hears somebody screaming for help to get them out of the well. And then you go around the area trying to find things to make a rope to climb down the well. That's what this game is about. Absolutely check it out. It's phenomenal. And I think it's for free, so why wouldn't you? To be honest, and if it's not for free, it won't cost much because I'm a cheap bastard when it comes to Steam.
True.
So,
Very true.
so yeah, so I I didn't spend a lot of money on it for sure, but I think it's for free. Um, what else do I have on my list here? Oh yeah, I played Spookware. This is not for free unless you play the demo version.
It looked fun.
Uh, yeah. Spookware, it comes from WarioWare, basically. It's all these short mini games that you either play with a controller. Like, controller got added on later. You can play them all with a mouse and a keyboard. I'm not good with mouse and keyboard, so that makes it a little bit harder. But you can also play them with a controller. It depends on which chapter you're in. Like, the mechanics are always a little different. Like, first in the first chapter you only use the arrow keys. In the other chapter you have to actually type stuff. Other ones you have to use the mouse. But it's all these short games. But it's not only that, it also is an adventure game where you walk around, you have to talk to people, figure things out, get items to progress through the story. At the moment you can play five or six chapters, and there's more coming in the future. But be aware they are very slow at releasing the next parts. All the DLC is free, so
Oh, that's cool.
that's really cool. But it takes them quite a while, and sadly, I just finished everything they had, and the quality control on the previous DLC that came out like a few weeks ago, I think they rushed it because there's definitely a few problems with it. Because I absolutely enjoyed this game. I love it. The humor is fantastic. It has a spoopy story that you start to experience throughout the game, and you have no real clue what's going on with it. But the final chapter, which basically is like first person shooter mechanics and things like that. Those parts work fine until you get to the very end where you have to do the mini games for that section, and half of them don't work properly, or you don't have enough time to even finish them, so you keep losing lives, and it's a mess. It actually got me mad. Um, like, I've enjoyed like 5 hours of this game to the fullest, and then just that final part got me extremely mad. But it's because it's broken. It's just not
Yeah, I mean,
done
who
well.
gets mad at video games? I mean,
Yeah, it's sad because I really love that game, but I think that final part destroys so much of it. You can get through it, by the way. It only took me 45 minutes, which is long, by the way, because I like aced all of the other things in like 20 minutes or something like that, but that one took me quite a while just because it didn't work. And I think the developers realized that themselves because if you game over and you restart, after a while the game even asks, "Oh, do you want to delete one of the games from the list so you don't have to do that one this time around?" So
wow.
I think they knew. So I hope before they start working on the final DLC, I think it is, that they do fix some of the issues they have with this one because, yeah, it was just not well done. That's all I can say. But besides that, absolutely check out Spookware. It's a fantastic take on the WarioWare genre. I guess I don't even know what
I
else you could call it.
I watched you stream it, and I was like, wow. So I never. So the first time I played a WarioWare game was on an RGL raffle, however long ago I did a raffle, I did the first. I did Wario. That was the first time I ever played a WarioWare game. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
me
I was
too.
like,
Yeah.
wow, these are actually kind of fun. So I went and I
Mm-hmm.
beat one of the WarioWares on GBA. And I was like, oh, okay, that was actually kind of fun. It was tough. I got frustrated with a couple of them, but like it was pretty fun
Hmm.
overall. And then I watched Mo played Spoopware, and I was like, oh, that's very reminiscent of WarioWare. It looked like a lot of fun, but definitely it would get to the point where I'm just like, well, I don't want to break this controller in half, so we're just going to just watch Mo play it and not play it myself.
Yeah, they are not frustrating at all. You really get them very quickly. The first time you see them, you have no idea what you're supposed to do. Uh, that's like, wait, what just happened? Like I lost a life because I just didn't get it. But yeah, besides that final part, all of the other mini games they work perfectly fine. You figure them out after 2 times, and then they're easy to beat. Because I thought it was gonna be hard to like. There's achievements to get S rank, so not failing at all during the boss fights. That is, I thought that was gonna take me forever, especially the one in chapter 4 where you have to type. Um, which is really hard because I'm not like that fast at playing on a keyboard for starters, but I also have to pay attention to the screen, type in random letters because it's not even words; it's just random letters. So I constantly have to look back and forth on the screen, and that yeah, as somebody who can't do that, it was tough, but I even got that done in like 2 tries. But then the final part was just yeah, absolute garbage. So yeah,
God Gamer.
yeah. But yeah, that's everything I've been playing. So let's see what you've been up to.
So World of Warcraft Wrath of Lich King Classic came out a couple weeks ago. I'm already 80, done all the raids, cleared all the content, just getting gear now. So I'm working on another level 80 because I have no life and whatnot. So I've been a lot of WoW Classic the last month or so, but that's starting to slow down now. I've done a couple of horror games this month. I don't get into it as much as Mo does, but I did. I played Happy Game, and one of the disclaimers at the bottom of the intro screen says this is not a happy game. So it's a very interesting game. If you've ever played Yearwalk, which is a Swedish folklore horror game, and Little Misfortune, which is a darling, adorable but very dark horror game.
Yeah, that's a great game. Yeah.
It's a combination of basically both of them together. Um, you only use your mouse for the entire game. There's no gamepad, there's no keyboard. You only use your mouse, and it's all puzzle based. So it's an atmospheric psychological horror game that you have to solve various different puzzles to get through it. And you're a little kid that's having nightmares, and you have to work your way through the nightmares. And it takes a lot to make me pretty disturbed on things, and there are parts of the game where I'm just like, I don't know how you think of that, but all right. So, it's a very cheap game. I think I bought the big edition for like $10. Um, super super fun game. Recommended if it goes on sale. But yeah, I have a huge backlog of Steam horror games I need to get through. I played Splatterhouse for the NES, which is probably my 10th time ever playing that game. Splatterhouse is just a cult classic. You know, maybe not for the NES, but definitely for other systems. Um, it's just a fun game. It's a fun, short, easy game to play, and it's horror themed, right? There's bats and pumpkins, and you play as Jason Voorhees basically. So
Mm.
it's fun. I've been playing a little bit of Scorn, which is the newest horror game that came out. It's like a mix of think of the most grossest game you can think of with flesh and blood and everything else, and Doom mixed together. Um, it's like a first person shootery game where you basically like take body parts and like inject them into other things, and you have them as keys. It's pretty gross, but it's pretty damn fun. If you like Doom, that is, you'll enjoy it quite a bit. Then speaking of Doom, I played the MS-DOS version of Doom the other day. Um, it does not hold up very well in terms of the gameplay is still very fun, but the graphics gave me a crazy headache. Just
Yeah.
because like you move so fast in that environment, it's so hard for your eyes to keep up. And then like I don't know how I did it when I was a kid, but man, I played through it in a sitting, and I was just like, oh man, my head hurts so bad after playing this.
Yeah, yeah. I sadly get motion sickness from most first-person games, so I know I played Doom and Duke Nukem 3D and Quake when I was
Yeah,
little. I don't think I had problems back then, but now I do. So it's hard for me to even play
yeah,
stuff like that. So I still try because I have a few games on Steam. Then that is like Iron Fury, which is basically Duke Nukem 3D, but
yep.
the newer version, and like Blood Plus is another one I have that I really want to play, but I can only play them for like an hour and then I have to stop because I feel so bad. So it's gonna take me a while. I
Most
actually also play. There's this game Lust from Beyond, which is also kind of Lovecraftian, Cthulhu cult thingy. Um, it's 18 plus though, so be warned. You can play it in uh, censored mode as well if you want to, but it takes away from the game.
no one wants
Yeah,
to play in censored mode.
it does take away from the atmosphere, so I would definitely not recommend
That
doing that. But there's two free chapters you can get on Steam. See, I got a lot of free stuff for you all if you want to play free games. And one of them had some weird graphic settings that made me sick as well, but the other one was perfectly fine. But they're also like first person, and they're scary games. So uh, yeah,
but
I kind of want to get the other two, like the full version of Lost from Beyond, and it had a prequel, but it's Lost from Hell or something. Uh, but yeah, it's a really cool horror game, but it just has a lot of nudity in it. So, but it fits the story. It's not nudity for nudity like a lot of stupid Steam games, like those hentai puzzle that make absolutely no sense.
well,
But
no, they make
yeah,
sense, just not in our setting typically.
yeah.
I mean, like playing as censor mode is like playing like Mortal Kombat 2 on the Super Nintendo without the blood code. So I mean,
Yeah, but yeah, this is of course it's body parts. Let's
so is
just
Mortal
call them like
Kombat.
yeah, but not naked. Like
That's true. Yeah,
yeah,
that's fair.
so
That's fair. Well, I mean, you can play
but just
Outlast as
just
well.
saying if people want to play it, it is definitely 18 plus.
Yeah,
But there are good games.
that's fair.
Uh,
First person shooters never do that for like I can play Call of Duty, I can play Battlefield. When we did God's Basement for Haunt Hunters, like I can play that all day long, no problem. I think the problem is that since it's such an older game, like everything is 8-bit, 16-bit, whatever MS DOS is, like everything just kind of blends in. So like the monsters, the floor, the walls, everything just kind of blends in. And there are areas in Doom where you're just in tight corridors and you go like 1,000 miles an hour through those tight corridors. So I think just like
mm,
the motion blur of everything just like combining. Just and I can't handle motion blur very well at all. Even in new games, I can't handle motion blur. I have to turn it off. But like Wolfenstein 3D, I can play Wolfenstein 3D perfectly fine because the areas are always so big. Like even though the walls and the
mm,
floors blend in pretty well because they're gray, the areas are so big. I can make sense of it all, and my eyes don't hurt because of it. But Doom though, everything is very
yeah,
tight in the older Doom games, and it's oof. It was rough. That was a rough one to get through.
yeah. Just something I noticed here. I think the YouTube video is not running.
I
Uh,
was gonna start it after the break because it's your
okay,
your
all right.
YouTube video is short. It's only 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So like once it was done, it would just stop and it'd probably play like the next YouTube video if I didn't catch it. So I was like, I'm gonna play it while we talk about the game. That way
Yeah, that's
people can see it, and then
that's a good
yeah.
idea.
And there's a science to my madness. I promise. I do promise.
Yeah,
Not to jinx us. Knock on wood. But we haven't dropped any frames for a while, and
that's good.
we're fully stable. It looks like now. So knock on wood. It'll probably drop again because Comcast. Uh, but yeah. So Doom, MS DOS, the few other games. I want to finish up Scorn. Like I said, it's a brand new game that just came out. I'm gonna finish up Scorn. Um, I want to play through Distraint 2. I have played Distraint 1. If you have never played Distraint, it's
No.
weird. It's very weird. Very graphic. It's like a 16-ish bit look to it. Extremely graphic. Lots and lots of pixel blood and lots of pixel body parts. But very, very cool story to it. And the developer came out with Distraint 2 a few years back, and I haven't had a chance to play that yet. I also want to play through the Cat Lady trilogy. So Cat Lady, Downfall,
Mm-hmm.
and Lorelai's whatever it's
Oh,
called. Yeah, Lorelai. So I have those lined up. I also want to play through those Faith games on the MS DOS looking games. Um, I haven't. I learned about them from L Rock when he ran them for I think one of the Halloween marathons here on RGL or Retrothon. I can't remember which. I watched. I was like,
mm-hmm.
hey, I'm like, what the heck is this guy? I never saw it before. And he told me about it, and then Mo told me about it. And he's like, how did you not know about these games? I'm like, there's so much stuff I can't keep track of. So those are definitely in the on the computer now and ready to be played. So and I'll probably play through Deadius again as well too, since it is a horror game, and Pine Creek since it is a horror game for Game Boy when it comes to homebrews. So I got a bit lined up.
Mm-hmm.
I just gotta get some time. Life has been busy the last couple weeks, so
Yeah, yeah, I'll probably still do Downfall and Lorelei myself because I bought them years ago and I played the Cat Lady and I just didn't do the other games for some
so
reason.
God, funny
Uh,
story about the Cat Lady. While we're on a tangent with horror stuff, so I played the Cat Lady and I got to like the very last section of the Cat Lady. So I'm like 5.5 hours into this game. But I typically don't save games whenever I stream them. I just play them straight through. I got
mm,
5.5 hours into the Cat Lady, crashed the game, lost all of my progress.
oof,
So I
yeah,
never,
that sucks.
I played 98% of the game already, but I never finished it. So
Oh
I
boy,
got a redemption arc now. So,
yeah.
but yeah, that's really all I've been up to. A lot of it is just coming up now because, like I said, life came at me pretty quick the last couple weeks, and readjusting and redoing some things with my life right now. So, if you want to know more about that, go listen to the light episode. But
Mhm.
with that, we're gonna take a very quick short break, and when we come back, we are going to discuss today's episode, which is Castlevania: The Adventure. Stay tuned. I don't even have Sofa open. Oh man. I spent all my time troubleshooting. Castlevania. I have no idea how loud this is going. Oh, it's not bad. 94 degrees out. Now, yeah, man, it is right now 54 degrees Fahrenheit where I live. Tuesday, it was 80 degrees Fahrenheit where I live. So, we had snow yesterday. That was glorious. Love snow. Mo hates it.
I don't. Well, I hate it here because it never. It snows, but it's too warm, and then it's just mush. So, like,
That's fair.
Yeah, if it snows, it should like literally snow, and it has to be like what's a meter in feet? I don't know because
Freedom
whatever.
units, man.
So yeah, whatever. But yeah, it never does.
1 meter equals 3 feet.
Yeah, that I kind of thought that would be like that. Yeah, yeah. So, what? Never happens here. It's been years since that happened. So.
And then, so Tuesday, for those of you that don't know Fahrenheit, it was 27 degrees Celsius here on Tuesday, and now it is 12 degrees Celsius here today. That's that's how different it can be here. And we had snow yesterday, so.
Yeah, when was it? I think it was Tuesday. During the night, it was 2 degrees Celsius.
Nice.
And then during the next day, during the day, it was 21. But it's like lowered to about 10 degrees Celsius at around 10-11 p.m. And at 1 a.m. it was 14 degrees. So it was hotter during the night than it was during the evening. I was like, what? And next week it's gonna be 23 here at the end of it.
It's always so funny to like talk about our weather patterns, because like we're about equal in terms of the longitude line. You and I are.
Yeah.
But like you have the ocean front basically that like helps you all quite a bit. I'm literally like right in the middle of the United States. You know, pretty much as far north as you can go. So it's like, oh, we're in mid-October. It's now 40 degrees and snowing outside. But if you drive like 4 hours south, it's like 50-some degrees and like beautiful weather. It's so weird. Yeah, Minnesota is a crazy state to live in. Because up north Minnesota, you can have like 3 feet of snow, 5 feet of snow, 6 feet of snow would be negative 12 out Fahrenheit. And then you can drive 3 hours south and it'll be like, I don't know, 20 degrees Fahrenheit, no snow. You drive 3 more hours south. You're still in Minnesota, by the way, at this point. You're at the southern point of Minnesota, and now it's like 35 degrees Fahrenheit and no snow and sunny. You're just like, why? This is the dumbest state ever.
Driving 4 hours in Belgium, if you would not have any traffic jams, which is something that almost never happens, but you could basically diagonally cross my entire country in 4 hours. So,
from where I live to the most northern part of Minnesota is a 3-hour drive, and I'm right in the middle of Minnesota. So
yeah. 4 hours from where I live to the east, I would be almost in Berlin.
Yeah.
Northways, I would be like halfway through the Netherlands, and south, I would almost be in Paris, without traffic jams. That is.
No one wants to go to Paris, though.
Yeah, I do not want to go to France.
No one wants to go to France. Been there once in my life. No interest in going back.
I literally never have been, so whatever.
You're not missing much. 10 hours north. Yeah. I've been down there before. Yeah, that's yeah. When I lived in California, if you want to talk about a lot of driving with a lot of traffic, when I lived in California for a while, that one was rough. I technically lived like 20 minutes north of LA, but with the traffic, it would take you about 3 to 4 hours to get to LA. So like what should be like a 20-minute drive maybe is like a 3 to 4 hour drive just because of the traffic. It's absolutely like California is insane. I'm so glad I don't live there anymore. All right. Fun tangents, fun break tangents. All right, let's dive right back into the episode here. All right, welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. That was a stage one song from Castlevania: The Adventure. So let's dive right in. Overview of the game. Pretty interesting release timeline for this one, especially for you EU people, because you EU people love getting games late. October 27th, 1989, Japan. December 15th, 1989, North America. 1991, Europe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, developed and published by Konami. It is Castlevania, after all. At this time, probably one of their flagship IPs. So, composers. Oh God, love Japanese names. Shigeru Fukutaki, which that name should be a bit familiar because of Twinbee. Was the composer or audio person for the Twinbee series. Then we got Norio Hanzawa. I believe that's how we pronounce that last name. Games to be aware of with this person: Bucky O'Hare. Gunstar Heroes, Mischief Makers for the N64. Very underrated N64 game. Highly recommend playing it. And I don't even like the N64. Astro Boy, Omega Factor, Wario World. In the most recent game, it looks like he is credited for is War of the Visions, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. He was a sound director. So, he also did Sin and Punishment, Star Successor. He was a composer for that. If you don't know what Sin and Punishment is, check it out. It's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting game. And then we have, oh boy, Hideo Funachi.
Yeah.
We nailed it, boys. We're so good at Japanese games. We're so good at Japanese games. So this person here credited for a lot of Game Boy music. Lots and lots of Game Boy music. We got Kid Dracula, Zen Intergalactic Ninja, Tiny Toons Bab's Big Break, Blades of Steel for the Game Boy, Castlevania 2 Belmont's Revenge, the best of the trilogy in my opinion for the Game Boy, Proteus, Operation C, Skate or Die Bad and Rad, Karth, Castlevania The Adventure, and for the Famicom, Twinbee 3, Poco Poco Die yeah. Yep. Words.
Yeah. There are three very well-known composers or audio engineers for Konami. Like they worked on a lot of their games. So and I think this might be the only game they like worked together on. So they definitely brought their A team for the music. Oh. Sadly, they went for the D team when it came to actually making this game.
Sadly,
yeah. More on that in a few moments.
Yeah. Genre platformer. It's Castlevania. We haven't gotten to the Symphony of the Night phase yet of Castlevania. We're still very much in the platform era of Castlevania. Plot. This is your bread and butter right here.
Yeah. The plot in the manual isn't that very well written, but it's your normal Castlevania plot. This time we will be playing as Christopher Belmont in his very first appearance in the franchise. But yeah, I'll go over what's in the manual if I can read it, because it's not that great of a scan, to be honest. So, sheer terror is at hand. To confront the death-defying count, it's not a good written plot. Insert the cartridge into the Game Boy. Whatever. Now you're in the misty midst of Dracula's less than welcoming lair. There's no place to hide, no place to run. The only direction you can go is dead ahead, into the darkness that is Castlevania. With a taste for sweet revenge on the tip of his fangs, the bloodthirsty Prince of Darkness hungers for a succulent delicacy, and your throat is definitely on his menu. But before you reach this host of horrors, you must risk Yeah, I think it's
Yep.
risk your neck against multitudes of unearthly evils that lurk around every corner. All told, there are 4 levels of dank dungeons, torture chambers, and vampire crypts. At the dead end of each, you'll find a primary evil who's waiting to terrorize you. Before proceeding to the next level, you must crush and demoralize, not that it has a lot of morals to speak of, this beast. At the end of the 4th level, you'll enter the dead of night, where you'll come toe to toe, eyeball to eyeball, with everyone's favorite bloodsucker, Count Dracula. And it's here that you'll either vanquish his midnight powers forever or be initiated into his vampire corpse. Your sole means of protection are your mystic whip. Doesn't it have a name, the whip? The something, isn't it just a vampire killer?
I don't remember.
It's something with it. Somebody who knows more about Castle. It's something killer. And mindful wits, which will lead you through Drax menacing maze. Along the way, be sure to light the candles with the tip of your whip. It's a surefire way to unleash life-sustaining items such as hearts, crystals, and crosses of gold. And then there's a bunch of stuff about points that nobody cares about. Also, light the candles. Think you mean destroy the candles, but
No,
whatever.
you gotta light them. You light them with that whip.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the plot. Dracula is back again for the 718th time. You're Christopher Belmont. It's your job to take him down. So there you go.
It's a good thing we're not going over the Castlevania timeline anymore. Uh,
Well, it's hard
oh, I
to do
know.
that.
No, I know.
Yeah, we've never had a game with Christopher's dad. I think he's called Frederick Belmont, if I remember correctly. He hasn't showed up in a game yet.
Yeah, because like the first of the Belmonts is Leon,
Yeah.
and then you go into the Trevor series, and then we go into the Christopher era. Then Simon. Then I think it was his name Just, and then Richter, and then we go into like the Morris nonsense, like the Quincy Jonathan
Yeah,
stuff.
the not Belmonts.
Yeah, the like I said, the Morris nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but lost myself in the notes. There we go. Controls. So the controls: D-pad to move, press the A button to jump, B button to attack with your whip. Um, before we dive
The
into
normal stuff.
before we dive into the items, the controls are they're responsive, but they're slow. um,
Yeah, they're responsive but delayed. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, but isn't that the case for all Castlevania games? Yes,
Kinda.
but no. The Game Boy one has even more delay for no
Yeah.
reason whatsoever. So it just doesn't make sense. Like if you play the original NES game or the other Castlevania games that use like the same control scheme, I guess the second one or Dracula's Curse or even Super Castlevania, even though that's a little better. Like the delay makes sense somehow. In this one, it doesn't. It doesn't work very well. The jump arc that you are used to having in a Castlevania game is also not correct. Like
Oh,
it Christopher weighs more uh, for some reason, so your jump is not as wide as you would think it is. And the attacks with the whip, sometimes it just eats your input. It just doesn't feel correct, sadly.
yeah.
Which is something Castlevania has always thrived in. Like it is delayed, but it feels correct. This one does not at all.
Yeah, I think one of the bigger flaws for it is that you're playing on the Game Boy, so you have a smaller screen to begin with, and some of the quarters you have to navigate through are pretty small even for Game Boy standards. Like the sprites themselves are good size, but
Yeah.
um you have to go through areas where it's like I need to jump up on top of these platforms and get to a rope while something is rolling at me, but I can't jump high enough to out jump this enemy, so I'm gonna get knocked away. Or it's just there's weird elements to it that just don't, like what Mo said, don't quite make sense for the controls. So, um, but going into the items, pretty a little bit different than your normal Castlevania when it comes to items as well too. We have the heart, which partially recovers health. So traditionally in Castlevania games, your heart is an energy source, so to speak, for your specialty weapon.
Ooh.
Whether it's holy water, the cross, whatever it may be. In this game, it's actually your health bar. A flashing heart fully replenishes your health. A one up is, well, it's an extra life. Um, the cross of gold grants you temporary invulnerability. Um, Pretty useful item, especially in the tight corridors with the falling eyeballs. Very useful.
Yeah, yeah. This is an item that got added to this game for a reason,
Yeah,
because there are some sequences where you cannot get through without getting hit, and the only way is to grab one of these, which is not a good mechanic
no,
when building a game. Like if you make it that hard, there's something wrong with your game. So luckily that's there though, I
yes,
guess. So they did find a way to make those sections bearable, but it's still something they could have easily avoided by doing it another way. But I don't know, maybe time constraints, yada yada yada, or maybe not understanding the source material well, because it's pretty obvious this was not made by the same people who worked on the
yeah.
NES games.
I also think too, like it's a pretty early adapter to the Game Boy library as well too, coming out in 1989. So for what the game is, it actually gave a lot of oomph to the Game Boy itself. Like there's a lot of stuff in this that you wouldn't see typically in a 1989 game. So they definitely went a little bit out of the boundaries a bit, but you can definitely tell that they were learning or trying, or like what Mo said, just weren't comfortable with what was given to them. So, um, it's what it is. So, the crystal upgrades your whip. Then you have a flashing crystal, which summons a primary evil, the boss. Um,
Ooh.
and then your coins are just for points, which no one cares about. So,
Yeah. Like in other Castlevania games, if you destroy the boss, you get a crystal. In this one, it works the other way around. There might be a few other games where it works like that, but uh, here you have to summon them by grabbing the orb, I guess.
orb.
Yeah.
I like this one part of the manual though. I'll rescan this manual because I have this manual. I'll rescan it for higher quality. But there's a section in the manual right before the boss or right before the enemies. It's called "Tips to Evade Torture," and it says, "Don't bet the ponies. Don't spit into the wind. Okay, enough joking around. This is Dracula stuff. This Dracula stuff is serious business, especially for those of you with your necks on the line. Here's the true advice from the underworld. Traps have been set within each stage. Be careful not to trip into the pit of vipers. Also, watch out for the pursuing wall. Uh, don't allow your attention to slip from the dangers lurking overhead and on the blood-stained floors. Knock down and destroy pillars to escape certain death. Master the jump attack so you can light up the candles burning high on the wall and defeat the flying sorcerers. To jump attack, hold down the A button, then strike with the B button." Then right below that it says continue if you dare. After losing your last life, you can continue from the beginning of the level where you perished. Pretty traditional Castlevania happenings
Mhm.
there. Simply press the control pad up or down to select yes on the continue screen, then press A. You can begin as many times as you like as long as the Game Boy power remains on. Can't play the game when the Game Boy's off. Turn off the Switch though, and it's back to the beginning where the deadly demons will be refreshed and revived. Careful not to leave your Game Boy on too long, or else you'll kill the batteries. So they had fun writing the manual. They definitely had fun writing the manual. I always enjoy a good manual. It's a very simple manual. Don't get me wrong. It's just a black and white manual. There's no color to it at all, really. But it's a fun manual. It's a very good manual to just read through. Those I appreciate more than like the high res, high color manuals usually.
Yeah.
But going into baddies, so we got the Big Eye, which is a big eye. Typically falls down from the top of the screen and then rolls towards whatever way Chris is on the screen. So if you're to the left of the pit, it'll fall down, roll left. If you're right of the pit, it'll fall down, roll right. Typically this is where the Holy Cross comes into play. You get the cross to be invulnerable. Climb up the rope while the eyeballs are falling so you don't get knocked off and hurt. So that's the big deal with that one. Big Eye makes its appearance in Belmont's Revenge as well too. The eyeballs are actually pretty popular in Belmont's Revenge. They a little too popular, but
yeah.
Then we got the Madman, which looks like Swamp Thing or a man covered in mud.
Yeah, maybe they meant Mudman, but
yeah, same as Madman though in the manual. Then you got Punaguchi. It's those stacking dragon heads that shoot fireballs at you.
Yeah.
And then we got the Death Bat. Gotta be careful of the Death Bat. It looks like a winged demon. Let's just be fair on that.
Yeah, that's actually the boss. Like they messed some things up with the enemies.
And then you got the She Worm, which is just a little larva wormy boy that crawls on the ground. And then you have Evil Armor, which is the guys with the shield and the spear. And they're the annoying ones typically in the game for me. And then the primary evils you have Undermole, Gobons, Zeldo, not to be confused with Zelda, Zeldo. And then
yeah, he's actually not a boss. He's just a normal. They switched it between Death Bat and Zelda.
Yeah. So, but Gobons was, I believe, the stage 1 boss that you encounter, and yeah, those are the enemies though.
Yeah. So not that much variation in this game when it comes to enemies, but I mean it's an early Game Boy game, so that makes sense that they can't put too much into it. So yeah, let's go over some of the mechanics of this game real quick. There's not that many besides the normal Castlevania mechanics which everybody knows. But in this game, there are no stairs. There are actually ropes to traverse upwards or downwards. Most likely, this was due to programming issues with stairs on Game Boy. Like, at the top of my head, I cannot think of a single Game Boy game that uses stairs correctly. Like usually you get stuck when going upwards and things like that because of the sprites. Like there's not really a diagonal dimension on. I mean, some can pull it off, but most of the time they don't. So it would have been weird to program that in, especially during the first year of Game Boy when they hadn't figured stuff out yet. So yeah, they went with ropes in this one. Oh, there you go. Also, one of the dumbest mechanics ever put into a Castlevania game, which is one of the reasons that this is not a good game. Your whip actually downgrades if you take a hit from an enemy. So yeah, your whip can be upgraded 2 times, just like in the other Castlevania game. The first time it gets longer, and the second time it shoots out some kind of fireball when you when you use it. It also deals more damage with each upgrade. So yeah, the game is basically made around the fact that you need the upgrades, but every time you get hit, you lose the upgrade, which puts you in very crappy situations, especially when you get into a boss fight and you get hit. And yeah, good luck trying to even reach the boss because your whip is so small on the normal level. It's just not fun anymore. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why, besides the weird controls or the delayed controls that make this game way too frustrating uh, for no reason at all. You could argue that they maybe put this mechanic in because it's a short game. Um, to make it a little bit more difficult, like they did with a lot of Game Boy games. To be honest, they made it more difficult to make it lengthier. But the problem is that would work for a short game, and this is a short game. Don't get me wrong; it's only 4 stages long, but they forgot that the walk speed of freaking Christopher is slower than a snail, which makes it even more frustrating because it takes you longer to get somewhere if you died, especially if you game over and you have to redo the entire stage again. The slowdown is not lag, by the way. It's not lag. They actually programmed Christopher or the entire game to run at this pace, which is, yeah, the third strike for this game, making it not fun to play at all.
Yeah, it's interesting to say the least. That's why typically we'll touch base on this very much later in the episode, but it's why we recommend playing the ROM hacked version, the enhanced graphics, whatever it's excuse me.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah.
So, but yeah, going into the stages. So stage one is the forest slash graveyard. This is your very, very typical first stage of a Castlevania game. Introduces you to how the jumping physics works, how the knockback physics works when you get hit. It just introduces you to the atmosphere leading into Dracula's castle. Um, the first boss is I already closed the manual. That what is it? Gobans.
Go Gons, yeah.
Yeah, the first boss is Gobans. If you have the full whip upgrade, the fireball that you whip off at the end of your whip bounces off of his armor. So you actually have to hit him with the physical whip.
Yeah.
Which is still not the end of the world because that whip is pretty long. And you can hang out to the farish right of the screen and just keep whipping him as he's walking towards you. I think it takes like 4 or 5 hits and he's dead. You honestly shouldn't get hit by him at all.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a very easy introduction to the game. Like you could even argue that like the original Castlevania or Castlevania 3, the first stage is already pretty tough to get through. This one is fine. The only downside to it is that there's a part where you have to jump on these like tiny platforms to cross. Like you can't fall into a pit, but you would have to go back at a route.
Yeah.
And because the mechanics of the jumping are a little bit weird, it might take you a while to get used to jumping at the correct pixel to get over it. But besides that, it's a very simple stage for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, after beating Gobans, you go into the cave, which is full of bats, which are annoying to hit because, well, you probably already lost your upgrade to your whip anyway, so you can't even get them. But besides that, again, it's a pretty easy stage. There's something I actually forgot to check, which I read. This stage has like a split path near the end. And apparently, if you do something wrong there, you can end up in the boss room, but the boss doesn't spawn. I actually haven't checked it out. I totally forgot about it until this moment. I haven't seen it ever, so I'm not sure if it was just somebody running into a weird soft lock that can happen once every full moon or something. I don't know. But if that is true, that is dumb.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't put it past this game. But yeah, I have never seen that before, at least. The boss fight in this stage is against the Undermole, if you can even call it a boss fight, to be honest.
It's
If
very
you've
easy.
Yeah, it's just all these holes in the wall, and one of the moles jumps out, and you hit it, and it's dead. It's like super easy actually for a boss fight. Even if you have a downgraded whip, it's still pretty easy to get through. So I wouldn't worry too much about that at all. And these guys actually turn into normal enemies in Castlevania 2 for Game Boy. So yeah, it was a weird choice for a boss, but again, still pretty easy game so far,
I mean,
except
yeah.
that the mechanics suck.
Yeah, I mean under mold too. Like there's four holes, right? They kind of like go in like an arcing type fashion. If you stand underneath the second hole, which is the highest one up, and just if you have the fully upgraded whip, you can use the fireballs to hit the mole on the other side. And you just have to wait for the mole to jump out of the top hole, and he'll arc over you. You just hit him on the way down. Like you literally don't move fighting the mole at all.
Yeah.
It's a crazy easy fight. Not compared to this next stage, which is the trap room. The trap room is brutal. And it's brutal because of those stupid little worm guys. Because there's a certain part of the level where the floor becomes spikes and it starts to rise up. You have to race vertically to the top of the stage. But in your way are these little worm boys that you have to hit, but they can turn into a roly poly, so you can jump over them. However, they move slower than a slug as well too, and if you're not careful, they'll hit you back onto the rope while the floor is coming up. And there's not a lot of timing, and there's not a lot of padding you can use to have room for error, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Along the way too, this stage I believe also introduces like the one tile vertical platforms as well too, along with the Super Mario Land styled falling blocks as well. So when you jump on them, they fall almost immediately as soon as you touch them. So you have to be quick to get off of them. All while platforming and going through this stage, you have a floor of spikes rising or a wall of spikes coming behind you to chase you. This stage is absolutely brutal, especially if you don't have an upgraded whip. Which honestly, by the time you get to like the second screen, you probably lost your upgraded whip. Because a
Mm-hmm.
non-upgraded whip takes two hits to kill one of the worms, and an upgraded whip just flat out kills them. So this stage is absolutely no joke. This is where all of my game overs started happening when I was playing this game.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to make sure that people who are watching this live or who are watching the video, the footage you see actually is from the hack.
Yeah,
Because I had to replay this game because I lost the original footage. So I did play the original version first, but I just played the hacked version for my replay. And that's why you see me not losing my whip upgrade if I get hit by an enemy, and also why he's moving at a normal pace. So, like you could see, as we are talking about that stage, I am currently on the third stage, and the section with the spike wall coming after me. On the original version, like you saw me getting stuck on an enemy there for a while. If that happens on the original version, that wall catches up and you're dead. You
yep,
cannot outrun it at all. In this version, you can because you just move you move at a normal speed. So, uh,
yeah,
yeah, just want to make sure
yep. So
of
this
that.
this boss here is Deathbat, I believe his name is, right. Yeah, Deathbat,
Yeah,
and this boss with a fully upgraded whip dies in 3 hits.
yeah,
Just letting
which
you
I don't
know.
have at this point.
Um, So this just tells, like, if you're watching Mo's gameplay, you can see the difference between a fully upgraded whip and not a fully upgraded whip. Um, with a fully upgraded whip, this boss dies in 3 hits. You hit him once, he flies up, lands on this perch, walks back and forth, flies over. Basically, move to the left of the screen. He's gonna swoop down, hit him twice, he's dead. Otherwise, you have to actually figure out the boss pattern and beat him that way. But then we go into stage 4.
Yeah, the final stage. Thank God if you're playing the original version, because at this point you're absolutely tired of playing this game. So yeah, this is basically the exterior and the interior of actual Castlevania. Um, so yeah, pretty simple setup really. You try to get inside of the castle, and you make your way through tons and tons of armors, and also the first boss again and again and again, which gets super annoying because, again, if you get hit, you lose your upgrade and then you can't reach him, and he has a reach that is far superior than your reach, and you keep dying over and over and over again.
And fireballs
this,
don't hurt him, so you have to be a little
yeah,
close to him too. So
yeah, that as well. This is a very, very annoying part. Again, if you're watching live right now or the video, yeah, you have to get through this section with those dragon heads, and you will lose your whip upgrade in the original version. Like, there's just no way around it.
100%.
Yeah. But yeah, it's basically a gauntlet of enemies you do not want to be facing, and that take way too many hits to die, until you finally jump down a hole. Not to end your life and get it over with, but sadly to face off against the big baddie Dracula himself. Yeah, and in normal Castlevania fashion, of course he has 2 forms, because he always needs 2 forms.
Well, yeah, you gotta have 2 forms.
Yeah. His pattern is a little hard to read. Even though it's set in stone, it's super hard to read, in my opinion, which makes it even more frustrating to try and kill him. I think there is 1 upgrade for the whip right in front of him, so even if you die, you get 1 upgrade back, so you can at least hit him. But his attacks are super hard to dodge, for sure. His bat form, luckily, is the easiest, but again, if you've already lost your whip upgrade during a fight, good luck hitting that bat. Yeah.
But yeah, the stage for enemies, it lacks enemies, with the exception of what Mo was saying, the first boss enemy. But for the most part, like almost in traditional Castlevania sense, like the final stage doesn't have a ton of enemies to it. But it does have these rooms with spikes with moving platforms. They're kind of a pain to figure out, especially with the crappy jump that Chris has. But yeah, like what Mo said, we go into the Dracula fight. There's something to note too: when you pick up this crystal to start the enemy fight or the boss fight, you start the boss fight the second you touch that crystal. Like, there is no like ramp up at all. Boss spawns, you start fighting. So and the Dracula fight, honestly, the first phase of it is pretty relatively easy. It's the bat phase that honestly makes me upset to do, because I don't like fighting bats, because I always get knocked back into the spike pit whenever I fight them. So but for the most part, the boss fights are easy if you have the upgraded whip. The levels are brutally difficult, especially the trap room. The trap room is the worst of them all. So, but yeah, once you beat Dracula, you beat the game. You save the world once again from Dracula's clutch. You get to watch the castle crumble into nothing while Chris stands on a cliff edge holding his whip. Pretty normal Castlevania ending. And from there, it rolls the staff roll right where the castle lied, and that's Castlevania: The Adventure.
Yep, that's pretty much it. Like we said, it's actually a short game, but just good luck getting through it. It's like super frustrating.
Yeah. Crazy frustrating. But the best part is at the very end of it, after the staff roll, Dracula turns into a bat and flies away. And it says, the
Yeah,
end. So you know Dracula ain't dead yet.
it's never over.
It's never over for the Belmonts.
Uh, yeah, no, this is Christopher Belmont. Actually, it's not Simon Belmont. Simon, wait, is Simon dead already? Or is he after
Simon's
Christopher?
way later.
Oh, way later. Yeah. So yeah, this is Christopher Belmont.
Actually, I think Chris might be Simon's dad.
No,
No, Trevor. No,
Soleil is
yeah.
Christopher's son. And I guess Simon is Soleil's son. I don't know, man.
I don't know that whole stuff
by heart.
Just...
Soleil is definitely the most hated character
in
the Castlevania franchise. Oh boy.
Trevor Belmont is Simon's dad.
Oh right, yeah.
So that makes sense. And Trevor was before.
Yeah, Trevor's way before Chris.
So Simon and Chris probably were in tandem together.
Mm-hmm.
Different Draculas, There's multiple Draculas in the world. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's Castlevania. They all look the same. They all play the same. Waiting for the Castlevania people to come at me now.
So yeah, with that said, let's take a look at the cover art, which is actually amazing. I really love this cover art. It's the same for all three regions, basically. Like especially US and EU have the same one. Of course, the Japanese one is a little bit shaped differently, but it's the same image at least that is on there. But it's kind of a remake of the box art for the NES version. Of course, you have Christopher in front, except instead of Simon. But you see Castlevania looming in the distance on the edge of a cliff. I don't know why he keeps building his castles. He can literally spawn it anywhere he wants, and every time he chooses to do it on the edge of a cliff. Kind of dumb. In the background, in the clouds, you see Dracula, way bigger than he actually is. Anytime in any Castlevania game, shooting thunder out of his fingernail, and bats are flying towards Christopher. But it's cool. It's a cool box art.
Yeah. I like that this is one of the few box arts where like the foreground actually goes into like the Game Boy spine. Like it doesn't constrain itself to like the little square for the box art itself. It actually like lets itself flow out a little bit. One of the rare box arts that actually does that, and I always appreciate when that happens.
Yeah, it's a perfect cover for a Castlevania game. That's for sure.
It would definitely. If I saw that on the shelf as a kid, I'd be like, "Yep, in that game." Because there was no internet when we were buying games. We judged it all by the box art. And I'd be like, "Yep, that's it right there."
Yep, and then regrets for the rest of your life.
That's right. For the next 20-some years of your life, you'll hate yourself because you bought Castlevania the Adventure.
But yeah, this wasn't the only time people got subjected to Castlevania the Adventure, because it actually, and this is a Japanese only release, but it got put into the very first Konami collection, which is basically like a card with 4 games from the franchise on it. Yep. So it's also on the Konami collection. Sadly, it's the exact same version as the original. So you're still screwed either way.
Suckers.
Doesn't matter which one you buy. Luckily, there has been, and we've mentioned it before, there is a ROM hack of this game called the Enhanced Graphics Edition, I believe. Yes, it upgrades some of the sprite work in it, which is already cool, but it also gets rid of you losing your whip upgrades after getting hit. And it actually makes Christopher move at the speed he is supposed to be moving at, which actually makes this game good, in my opinion. It does still offer you the same classic Castlevania difficulty, but without all of the stupid things that this original version brought with it. So I really actually enjoy playing the enhanced graphics edition. So if you can pick it up, be warned though, it is a hack. There are some graphical issues during the game. So if something disappears all of a sudden, yeah, sadly, but it's still very, very much playable. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, that's the preferred way of playing the Game Boy version. It's also put on the Castlevania collection, which came out a few years ago, which I'm still very mad about. I have no idea why they put this game on the collection. Was 2 on it as well? I think so, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, two was on it. Legend sadly did not make the cut because Konami wants to deny the existence of that game for whatever reason, because it didn't work plot wise for some reason, but whatever. It's actually a really good game, so it's sad that they didn't put it on there. But they did go with the original Castlevania The Adventure here, even though they actually have an amazing remake of this game, which only came out on, what is it called? Well, I know it's on the Wii, but like the Wii,
the virtual console type deal.
I
forgot what it was called, but yeah, like the eShop type deal. Yeah.
But it's called Castlevania Adventure Rebirth, which is a completely new game, basically, but based on this game. In my opinion, the best Castlevania game there is. Sadly, you cannot play it because the Wii blah blah blah, blah whatever online thing doesn't exist anymore, so nobody can grab it. Of course, there are ways. I'll get into that later. But yeah, it's just not or available for purchase on anything anymore. So why didn't they put that version on the collection and went with the original Game Boy version? It's beyond me. It's really, really, really beyond me. So yeah, it's weird. Konami does make weird decisions, but that really is one of their most weird ones. Besides going for pachinko machines, but yeah, whatever.
Konami does some choice things. Even back then, they did some choice things as well too. But like nowadays, it's like where we have a Castlevania. Here's a Castlevania collection with all the crappy versions of the games, or you know, here's a Silent Hill collection where like the 3 games just don't work at all. So I mean, it's whatever. Here's a Metal Gear collection, but we probably will never release one again. So
yeah.
Everyone, they just want pachinko machines now, and it's fine. You know, if you want to play Metal Gear pachinko, that's fine. But I certainly don't want to. But yeah, no, this game got absolutely roasted for just how bad it was. Which honestly, when I was playing, I played through the trilogy multiple times for Game Boy. Having played original adventure and the ROM hack, and like even after playing the ROM hack version, I was like, wow, I am surprised they made a second Castlevania for the Game Boy. And then the second one is by far the best of the 3, in my opinion.
Leagues better than this game,
and hailed as the best of the trilogy for the Game Boy. Meanwhile, no one acknowledges Legends, which I think Legends is a decent game.
Yeah, me too. I think it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, Adventure's awful. So
yeah,
I still recommend playing it because it's a Castlevania game. But play the ROM hack version.
Yeah, if you have the ability to, just play the ROM hack version. Yeah, and play the original to see why it doesn't work.
Just play the
because of
first
some
level.
choice mechanics.
Just play the first level of the original. You'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're gonna take another quick short break here. We'll come back. Thoughts and history of Castlevania: The Adventure, and then obviously our very well scripted closing statements. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm gonna go grab a water real quick. 3-2 if you're listening. I think we will be done in at a quarter to.
Yeah, probably 30
whatever time. Yeah, so now we can go back to the waffles. But yeah, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab a water real quick.
Yeah, I'm surprised Rebirth never made it to a collection. It's kind of sad, but it is what it is. Speaking of Castlevania, what is your guys' favorite Castlevania game of all time? Not just Game Boy related, of all time. Is that a PS2 one? I've never played any of them newer than Game Boy Advance. DS. Oh, yeah, definitely never played that one then. I'm doing alright. Doing alright. Surviving. A soft spot for the N64 one. Yeah. The N64 one is something else. Isn't there two N64 Castlevanias? N64 and the PS1 remake, yeah. Aria of Sorrow is a close second. Aria of Sorrow. I played Aria of Sorrow for the first time because they released the Game Boy Advance games on Switch. So I have Circle of the Circle of the Moon and Aria of Sorrow, I think it is, or whatever. Circle of Harmony at Distance, whatever it is. Yeah, on the Game Boy Advance, and I played Aria of Sorrow for the first time on that version, and absolutely loved Aria of Sorrow. It was so good. So good. Castlevania 4 is solid. I like Castlevania 4. It's definitely not my favorite, but it ranks up there. My favorite Castlevania is probably 3. Castlevania 3 followed by now Aria of Sorrow. But I like Castlevania 2 quite a bit on NES. It gets a bad rap, but I think it's a very, very cool game. What are your thoughts on Castlevania 2 on NES?
Me?
Yeah.
I love Castlevania 2.
Yeah, see?
I
think CV2
yeah,
is a cool
I
game.
think it's a cool game.
Yeah.
It's cryptic, but whatever.
I think I like that in a Castlevania game. Like you're a vampire hunter, a family of vampire hunters trying to find and kill Dracula and his fiends. Like I think there should be some crypticness to a game like that.
Yeah, it was like the waiting for the tornado was too cryptic, but
yeah.
Besides that, I think it's a really cool game. I think there's a hack for that as well, where it skips like the text when it changes from night to day, which helps a lot because that slows the game down too much. But Yeah, I think
Rondo of
it's a
Blood
fun
was
game.
good too. Rondo of Blood and Bloodlines was decent. Bloodlines was I played that one somewhat recently. It was fun, but I don't Sega.
It's a bit different. Yeah,
I don't
I like
like
playing with
Sega.
the spear guy, but I don't know what's his name.
I just don't like Sega, so. Never played CV2, really want to. Well, you should. CV2's fun. I personally enjoy CV2. But I also added in Superman to the Tiny 10 list, so I mean. You can take it however you want. That's been since the 90s. The most recent Castlevania I played was Aria of Sorrows on that Switch collection. Before that, I think I played CV3. I blind raced Castlevania 3 against Mr. Cab like 2 or 3 years ago. And I think we both forfeited because we got pissed off on the steps. So. But I do like CV3 is my favorite of them all right now. I do want to play the DS versions. I do want to play that other GBA one. What is it? Distance of Harmony or Circle of the Moon? I can't remember which one's what anymore. There's a few PS2 ones I do want to check out as well, but they're just so damn expensive. That's the problem.
Yeah, I have them.
We'll send them over.
Nope, you wouldn't be able to play them anyway because
you don't know that.
There are PAL.
You don't know that. I got ways.
True.
Most of my stuff is not region locked anymore.
Yeah.
I should try that. Yeah, Portrait of Ruin. Yeah, I'll eventually get to them. DS is one of those systems. I'm just like, never got into DS. Never really got into 3DS. Like I own them. I have Zelda and Kirby on them. That's pretty much it. So they're handhelds I just never got super into. Just like the GBA. All right, you ready? You good? You set?
Yep.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for holding on there. Hope you enjoyed. I believe that was stage 2 from the CV OST called Darkness. But yeah, so thoughts and history of the game. We'll start with you, Mo.
Yeah. All right. So I did not grow up with the Castlevania series at all. Like none of my friends or family had the games on any system back then. So I'm not sure how I eventually ended up playing some of them. Like I can't really remember. I do remember screenshots from the adventure in like promotional books that came with the Game Boy. Like they just had pictures with all of the games in them. So it looked like a game I would enjoy. Not this one, then, but like the series itself, actually. Like back then, I didn't know, of course, but that this was a bad one. But yeah, the series looked at least interesting to me. But I never got around to buying it. I'm pretty sure I never saw it at the store or something like that. I think the very first one that I ever played was Super Castlevania 4. I think. Like again, I'm not really sure, but I did like that game a lot. Was a lot of fun. I don't think I ever beat it as a kid or something. I also didn't own it, so I must have played it over at a friend's or something. But yeah, after that, when the time came for emulators and ROMs to get super popular, I did go back and check out the rest of the series, except for the Game Boy games. Actually, I still did not play them. So I'm not sure when I first played this. Not for portable pleasure or anything like that. I must have just tested the game out at some point. And yeah, I just. It wasn't fun at all, especially not after playing all of the other Castlevania games. So yeah, it literally sucks for all the reasons we have listed throughout the episode. So I'm pretty sure I didn't beat it the first time around, so I eventually did for portable pleasure. I did find the ROM hack after a while, and then I did enjoy this game, like I said earlier, and that's why I picked that one for my replay of the game to have a video. And then I actually enjoyed the game. So it's just that the original is not great. I did hear a lot about a remake, but as mentioned before, there's no legit way of playing that game anymore or procuring that game anymore. So I literally bought a Wii. I didn't own a Wii. I never bought
Oh
that
boy.
system because there wasn't anything in particular interesting on it for me. So I actually bought a Wii for the sole purpose of playing Rebirth. So for those of you who don't know, there's a way to hack your Wii, and then you can download the files uh, for those games that don't exist anymore and put them on there. It's not that hard to do. Like it took me like half an hour to figure it out. But yeah, it's it's probably it took me it cost me $40 to get a Wii with controller and all the stuff that comes with it. No games or anything, just the console and the controller and things like that. But it's probably the best $40 I have ever spent on something completely random because for me, Rebirth is my all-time favorite side-scrolling Castlevania game. I just absolutely adore that. It did cost me $40 just for one game, which is still cheap because I got the console with it and I can play other
That's
games on
true.
it as
Yeah.
well now. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, it was just. I was like, I want to play this. I want to play it on console. I don't want to emulate it or anything. I'm just gonna buy a Wii. So I did, and now the Wii is there, and I've only played Castlevania Rebirth on it. So, but yeah, I think if you haven't played that game before, and you have ways to do so, do it because I think it's a phenomenal
It is
Castlevania
good.
game. Oh, yeah,
Or it can just be like me and have them legally on your Wii because you bought them.
yeah.
Yeah, because I have. That was a Contra Rebirth. It was the other one, Contra Rebirth and Castlevania Rebirth,
And Blaster Master
and Blaster
Rebirth.
Master. Yeah,
Those were the three Rebirth games. Yeah. Oh, and Gradius Rebirth.
I don't know if I have
Yeah,
Gradius.
yeah. Four games. Yeah.
I don't know if I have Gradius. I'd have to plug it in and look. It's sitting over there collecting
Yeah.
dust right now. So
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those Gen One Wii's too. It has like the GameCube ports on it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's an old boy, um, but it worked. It works well whenever I need to do stuff for the GameCube.
Yeah.
Whenever I need to use it, it works well. But for me, so Castlevania has always been a pretty dear place or a dear game to me because my first Castlevania I played was Castlevania 2 for the NES. Now I was probably like five or six when I first played it, so obviously didn't beat it when I was a kid because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But I grew up with Castlevania, NES Castlevanias, and the Super Nintendo Castlevanias, and even the N64 Castlevanias. Played Symphony of the Night, but that was pretty much like my done right there. It's like Symphony of the Night and the N64 Castlevanias was it for me. Because I didn't have a Game Boy Advance, I didn't have a PS2 at the time, and when I did get my PS2, the games I bought, because at this time when PS2 was out, I was into sports games and wrestling games, so I had mostly dominantly sports games and wrestling games for my PS2. Um, so I didn't have Castlevania. Didn't even know Castlevania existed on the Game Boy. Um, yeah, then later on, once I start getting more involved with retro stuff and everything else, I learned that there's Game Boy Castlevanias. I'm like, oh, we'll check them out because Game Boy. The first one I ever played was Legends. Liked it, enjoyed it, was pretty good. Then I played Belmont's Revenge like a year later. Loved it. The best Game Boy Castlevania. And then I mentioned, I was like, oh, I haven't played Castlevania Adventure yet, and everyone was like, don't play it. And I was like, okay. So it took me a couple years to finally be like, oh, you know what, we need to play Castlevania the Adventure. We're just gonna play it and be done with it. And I hated my life for a good hour and a half. So I hated my life for a good hour and a half. It wasn't so much that it was a bad game, it was just slow. It was just slow and unfair. And it was unfair because it was so slow. So I hated it. Hated it. I was like, this sucks. Complained about the entire playthrough. That's why it's not on YouTube yet. It's just me bitching for an hour and a half. So um but after that, though, like I said, I picked up the Game Boy Advance collection on the Switch. I believe Mo did too. I played Aria of Sorrow on it a year or so ago. Loved Aria of Sorrow. It is a top 3 Castlevania game for me now. Absolutely loved Aria of Sorrow. Do want to play Circle of the Moon or Distance of Harmony, whatever it's called. And then I do want to check out the DS and PS2 games eventually. But like I said, I like playing the games on the actual like console, or like having owned the game and then maybe dumping the ROM to my computer. Like I at least want to own the game. But God, those games are expensive. Like since it's a top tier IP, it's automatically at least $40+ right out of the gate. So they're just expensive games, and right now the retro market just to collect is insane. So I don't even want to touch the retro market right now. But yeah, so like I grew up with it up until a certain point, until I was about a teenager, basically. Then I stopped, and then recently picked it back up because of getting into retro stuff again for various different platforms. Um, but I will say the Castlevania N64 games, not good, not good. Playable, but not good. Go play Mischief Makers. That game's fun. But yeah, no, that's really about it. I guess we can touch base a little bit, like with the Castlevania stuff. Like, do you have what was it, Bloodstained? Is that the not spin off, but like basically the newer clone of it now?
Yeah.
That those games are heckin' fun. I haven't played the second. I haven't played Ritual of the Night 2 yet, or whatever the second one was. I played the first one, and then I played the PlayStation styled version of it as well.
Yeah.
Super good games. So since Konami's not making any more Castlevanias, at least anytime soon, I highly recommend checking out the Bloodstained series.
Absolutely. Yeah. Those are excellent games for sure. Let's see here. Retro achievements. Yes, there are some. If you want to get even more mad at this game, I guess you can try and go for the achievements. I don't. I'm not sure if it works with the hacked version. Like I have no idea. That would make it a little bit uh, more fun, I guess. But I'm looking at the list right now, and it does not look great. It's like get 9 remaining lives. Good luck with that. Apparently, there's a lot of secret rooms and secret one-ups you can get throughout the stages that I never even knew about. Yeah, there's a secret room in every stage. Yeah,
Oh,
never knew
really?
about that.
I didn't know. I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
so here, okay, well, there's a secret room. Yeah, and one-ups spread throughout the entire game apparently. But yeah, I also see like beat all the bosses with the lowest whip. uh, Complete stages with full HP and things like that. So yeah, uh, I don't think it will be fun. But yeah, they exist if you want to suffer some more. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't done the achievement stuff in a while. I think the last game I did achievements for was Trip World,
Yeah.
which makes you do things you typically would never do in Trip World. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
don't the Shaq Fu ones are really easy. There's 100 of them. There's too many Shaq Fu ones because they make you go through the story. Then you have to do like the versus mode, and ugh, it's too much. But they are cool though. If you're into the achievement stuff, or if you're wanting to challenge yourself with some retro games, highly recommend checking out the retro achievement stuff. Super super cool stuff that people are doing with it.
Yeah. Oh, see, Skister there knows where the secret rooms are, apparently. Yeah, I had no idea until I just looked at that list.
I had no idea they exist. I know there's some in CV2.
Yeah, those I know, and in Legends as well, but yeah. The more you know. That's why we do these episodes, to find out stuff that we didn't even realize about the games.
Alright, I'm pulling up the leaderboard right now for Castlevania. Wow, there's a lot of people. What the hell's AC mean?
No idea.
I don't know either. Wow, there's a lot of people. So yeah, Castlevania the Adventure. So speedrun segment. We're not a speedrun podcast. We're old washed up speedrunners that don't really speedrun anymore. So um any percent beat Zero from Russia with a time of 17 minutes 54 seconds. Plays on the Japanese version of the game. This is pretty recent, 2 months ago. So any percent AC. I don't know what AC stands for.
All candles, apparently.
All candles. Wow, man, talk about running out of things to do. Beat Zero again. 17 minutes 31 seconds. Played on the PS4 this time. It was also 2 months ago. Any percent Game Boy Color. Beat Zero, 15 minutes 31 seconds. 2 months ago, played on the European platform apparently. Low percent is from Mazen, who is from Germany. 21 minutes and 50 seconds. Played on the Japanese version of the video game a year ago. If you don't know what low percent is that picking up a whip upgrade is not allowed. Health refills are not allowed. Invincibility cross is not allowed. 1-ups are not allowed.
Jesus.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. And then 102% is also held by Mazen, with 22 minutes and 59 seconds held on the Japanese version of the game as well too. So it looks like the category requires you to destroy all 164 unique candles in the game and collect their items, excluding the unobtainable candle inside a wall in level 3. Each level requires taking a death to spawn one additional candle that would not appear otherwise. If you destroyed an earlier candle in the same stage, destroying the same candle after death is allowed. Those trigger candles are, and there's a list of them. So
wow,
if you want to do 102%, there is a list to do for that one.
I'm surprised the game has a lot more speedrun attention than like.
Yeah. So
it found its audience in the speedrun community, but the casual gamers are steering.
According to the stats here on speedrun.com, there's 11 players, 40 runs, 23 followers of the game. The game was added in 2017. It has a total runtime of 13 hours. There are 2 guides and 1 resource for the game.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. So that's awesome. I for one will not be submitting a time to this game.
No, thank you.
So of any degree, of any type of category, I will not be submitting a time to this game. Not much revenge, on the other hand, but
yeah, those who are interested, there is definitely a community around it. So
yes,
definitely check it out.
Seems to be a community around it, and it looks like it's starting to pick back up because the most recent speedruns are from a couple months ago. So it looks like there are some people picking that back up at least. But yeah, with that, do you want to do? Oh, we had community events coming up. I forgot to look up community events, Mo.
That is fine. We'll just go over the events we have on RGL for once or something, because there's a lot of stuff coming up for sure. Like we just announced the Tiny 10, which will Tiny 10 13, which will be held on November 12th at 1 p.m. Oh, for
You're
those of you who don't know what Tiny 10 is, it's a 10 Game Boy race. 10 Game Boy game. I can talk. I have words to say. Jesus. It's a speed run race with 10 Game Boy games. There we
there you
go.
go. There we
That made the
go.
most sense. There's also like the Halloween Marathon 2022. What's the date on that? Well, I guess Halloween weekend, which is 29th, 30th.
And whole
And then
schedule might be out tomorrow for it, so
no, yeah. Uh,
I don't
um,
I don't know.
yeah. We also have the Nescatlon, November 5th,
How'd you
1
say
p.m.
that?
Nescatlon.
That's Cathlon. Uh,
Yeah, whatever.
November 5th at I
Yeah.
believe was it what 1 p.m. Eastern, November
Mm-hmm.
5th. So I believe
Mm-hmm.
that's how many NES games was that? Is that 10?
Then yeah, I
Yeah.
I played the blind race. Like I
Oh,
won't be joining the actual race, but it was fun
nice.
to do the blind race for sure. So yeah, Halloween Horror Marathon is October 28th through the 30th. So last weekend of October. Let's see. We got all Feed the Kids Marathon is also coming back, November 25th till the 27th. There will be an RGL TV Schmuptacular on December 3rd.
Shmup
That's gonna
test.
be fun. We got the Coin Op Classic, uh, which will reappear in December as well. We will be doing a Secret Santa game exchange. That's a
Oh,
thing
those are fun.
between, yeah, that's between staff members. We pull a Secret Santa name and then we give each other 3 games to
Yep,
play.
those are
That's
fun.
and that yeah. So that's pretty much it for the rest of the year here on RGL TV. And of course, we will be doing the live recordings whenever we can, once a month. We
Yep.
uh, we did it today because we had the Tiny 10 reveal as well, and it was just easier to do 2 things after each other. So, but yeah, normally on Saturday, unless there's something else, there's of course the waffles or the raffles, which
Yep.
are always fun. No.
Yeah. And then another big marathon coming up too is our friends over at Power Up with Pride is putting up their Winter Pride Marathon this year. Submissions are still open for I think another day. So if you're listening to this live and you haven't submitted or want to submit a speedrun to it, they are open for at least until tomorrow night, I believe. They did extend the submission list for that. I don't remember when the times are or what the dates are for that. Typically, they're in December. Oh, here it is, December 9th through the 11th. So it's a weekend long marathon event. And they do and it's a charity thing that supports the Trevor Project. So, um, go definitely check them out if you're not a speedrunner, definitely check them out. Watch the marathon. Super fun to watch. Very chill. Very casual. Very good speedrun. The people behind the scenes are amazing, awesome people. I hang out with them all the time at GDQs when they're in person. Chat with them almost daily in Discord. So very, very awesome people. So give that a check out as well. Obviously, we're gonna have AGDQ coming up here. Honestly, relatively shortly. Time flies nowadays, so we'll have AGDQ, which is gonna be completely online this time around, and that'll be happening in January. So keep an eye out on that. Hopefully, we can get some Game Boy games in this time. I'll be submitting Shaq Fu again for the 14th time, and hopefully we can get that in for Awesome Block, and then maybe I'll submit Alien 3 as well for another Awesome Block game. So, um, obviously, there's always more marathons happening that we just don't know about because the marathon scene is absolutely gigantic. Especially starting around this time of year. This is when a lot of charity stuff starts to happen to, help feed hungry people or people that are less fortunate. Especially with the hurricane that recently hit the east coast of the United States and part of Canada. There's a lot of relief effort happening there as well too. So definitely keep an eye out on Twitter, or if you follow certain speedrunners, I'm sure some of them are clamoring and retweeting about said marathons as well. You want to do the closing this time?
Yeah, let's keep it short.
All right, you do it then.
My voice is going away after 4 hours now, I guess.
It's not like we revealed 10 Game Boy games. I mean,
yeah, or anything like that. And then we can go back to some more waffles. That's always nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's fly through this for once. Like always, if you have any thoughts and suggestions, you can reach us at many places, and I'm just gonna quickly go over them because you can find them on our website. This is gameboy.com, where you have these nice links you can follow, so you don't really have to type in anything in your browser or anything. But like, you can contact me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, all /Moelle, which is MOELLEUH, because my normal one always gets taken. EBC you can find on even more stuff.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I think that's about it for social media stuff. And that's just eBloodyCandy. I got grandfathered into YouTube, so it's real easy to find me. It's great.
Right. Of course, there's our producer, SprintingLegs, which you never really see here. You might have heard her in a few episodes, no. But you can find her on Twitch as SprintingLegs, on Twitter as SprintingLegs, on YouTube as Legs, and also on her own website, SprintingLegs.com, which has a variety of projects she's doing around Game Boy and other stuff. That's also the website where you can find the Game Boy manual database, which is still expanding as we speak, but we still have a long way to go before we actually have a full set. But if you want to contribute to that, definitely go check that out.
Yeah. She also has a really cool link on her site now too, to let you check out the authenticity of a ROM for your Game Boy as well too. So a lot of times we have trouble with ROMs, whether or not they've been modified or messed with, or if it was just a bad dump in general. She now has a tool on her website to let you upload your ROM and to check to see if it if it's good or not. So super helpful.
Yeah. So I've heard you like to support the podcast. There are a few ways to do that. The free ways are by, of course, listening to the podcast either on SoundCloud or on YouTube, where you can rewatch the live videos and videos for the light episodes as well. But those just have like gameplay footage with it, of course. But yeah, you can check everything out. You can like and comment and like subscribe and things like that. Anything that helps, like rate the podcasts on whatever podcast application you are using. It really helps spread the word that we exist, so that more people can pick us up and start listening to us. So that's the free way to do that. And it's always very much appreciated if you do any of those things. Of course, you can also throw your money at us, which we do love because we have bills to pay when it comes to the podcast itself. Like, not our other bills, like we don't use the money for that. But we do have a few ways you can do that. You can either just give us a random donation, which is always nice, through PayPal. We do have a PayPal.me account, I guess, or it's just a PayPal account. But you can find the link for that on our website. This is gameboy.com. But we also have a Patreon where you can become a patron for the podcast. Everybody knows it. It's like OnlyFans, but with less nudity. It's like a monthly subscription based thing where you can like give us whichever amount of money you want, and you will get benefits, of course. You get access to our episode notes, which you can read through, and you can see the evolution between the first episode and the later episodes where we actually
Huge evolution.
did start making normal notes for once. You can also get access to to a variety. That's the word I
There we
was
go.
looking for. Variety of special Discord channels you would otherwise not be able to access. There's stuff like bloopers and things like that in there that you can get access to. You also get early access to whenever me and EBC decide to make another Hunters episode, which is basically a YouTube Let's Play where we play through horror games. Or horror related games. Yeah, like they're free to watch on EBC's YouTube, but patrons get 1 month early access to episodes. That's not like a thing we do on a regular schedule. It's just whenever we have time, we record one and then we put it up there. So
Yeah, the last one we did was Fishing Vacation, which was a Game Boy inspired horror game.
yeah,
Pretty fun.
yeah, always a fun watch. So yeah, that's the Patreon stuff. So that's really cool. The final thing you could do is grab some merch from our store. You can access that through. Wait, what's the? I don't remember the URL.
Is it TIGB? It's merch.thisisgameboy.com.
Yeah, there we go.
You were supposed to
This
put a
is Game Boy.
banner on the website.
There is a banner on the website. There is. I just didn't remember the actual URL. But yeah, you can grab a T-shirt or a mug from there.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm still working on a new design now.
There's a mug right there. You just can't see it very well.
But yeah, you can grab it. Apparently, I still haven't. I didn't get rid of the limited edition shirt. Because I like completely forgot, to be honest. So,
Solid.
yeah, let's just keep that running for a while as well till the end of the year, and then I'll just.
Oh, we should
it
make a
go away
Christmas
for a while.
one. Change
A
the card
Christmas
out to
one.
a Christmas tree or something.
Yeah,
Dude,
I mean,
easy.
there's we will have some more merch soon, but basically for now it's a T-shirt which comes in 3 colors. Like Wait, what are the colors? Green,
It's like
light gray,
green.
and dark gray.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
Jesus,
no white.
I'm losing my mind here. Yeah, no whites. You can get a coffee mug or whatever mug. I don't know what you're drinking with the logo on it. And our limited edition shirt is still available at this point. And more merch will be coming soon.
Stickers soon.
Sure, I don't know if the costs of making stickers outweighs what we would actually earn from it, but
People want
whatever.
stickers.
Sure, I'll look into it. I can always do that.
I want the sticker more than anything.
Sure. All right, but yeah, that's all the sellout stuff we have. So, but yeah, it's always just appreciated if you listen to the podcast and if you like the podcast and spread the word on the podcast so more people will listen to it. But yeah,
story.
that's pretty much it.
What's our next episode going to be on?
That's a good question.
It's your choice this time, ain't it?
No, Castlevania was my choice.
No. Oh
Yep.
man, I gotta pull up a spreadsheet and. Oh man, this is the worst. I don't even know how to get to my spreadsheets anymore. I don't do this stuff very often anymore. Let's see here. Retro Digest, which is the world's dumbest name possible. Game Boy. Alright, well, let's see here. I really don't want to do an episode on Tintin yet. It could be fun, but I don't want to do one yet. Let's see here. I think I've done a light on all the Crayon Shin-chans already. We did Poco Neon. We did Fortified Zone, right? Yeah, we did Fortified Zone. I did Parasol Hinabi. Total Carnage. That's a light episode. Pleasure Dome. We did Wizards and Warriors, I believe.
Yep.
We've done all the Game Boy games. There's no more left.
Absolutely none.
There's just no more left. Let's see here. Have we done Zool, Ninja of the Nth Dimension, or is that more of a light episode?
We haven't done it. I mean, we can.
Is it long enough to warrant a full episode?
Yeah, it's got some fun history, I guess. Sure.
Yeah, you're the Zool guy, not me. So yeah, let's do Zool, Ninja of the Nth Dimension.
All right. Weird choice, but we'll
It's
do
a
Zool.
weird choice, but
Let's go into the weird games for once.
we haven't done a game like this yet, so that's why I was like looking for. I
That's
always
true.
look for like something we haven't done at least yet or in a
Yeah.
while. So, and that is
All
a
right.
very different game. So
So yeah, next time get your chupa chups ready, because we'll be diving into the fantastical world of or dimension, I guess, of Zool.
I found out Zool only has one song too, so you know it's a quality game.
It's
at that
true.
point.
It's true. Only one song.
All right. Well, until next time, y'all. Thank you all for watching this live. Sorry for the hiccups earlier in the stream. I don't know what was going on. Me and Twitch just didn't get along apparently. So thank you all for being patient to that. Thank you all for watching the stream. Thank you all for listening to the podcast episode on SoundCloud. And if you are watching this or listening to this on YouTube, we appreciate you as well. Until next time, see ya.
See you all later.